Hi everyone, in this video series we're going to learn about Ansible. So what I have at the moment, I've set up a virtual machine called main server, and this is the machine we're going to be using to configure other servers on our network. And I also have two servers running Ubuntu. One of them is called app server and the other one is called database. Now let's install Ansible. So we type in sudo yum install epl. And at the moment, I'm just following the guide on their website, which tells us how to install it on CentOS. And the next command we're going to do is called sudo yum install Ansible. As you can see, installing packages needed for this software to run. We can now see that Ansible has been installed. So you might ask yourself, what is Ansible? So Ansible is a configuration management system which allows us to set up and configure computer systems. It is also mainly used for server configurations. It's maintained by Red Hat, and it's free and open source, and it has to be installed on a control machine. So one machine that you install it on is the one that controls the other machines on the network. Now let's change the host files on our main server to make sure we can always see the other servers on this network by their name. So let's edit the host file. Let's edit the host file to make sure we can always see our servers just by typing in the name. So that's our app server. Let's type in the database server. Now this step is not really necessary for the Ansible, but it is actually important that this machine can see all the other machines on the network. Now let's save this file, and now let's ping. Make sure we have the connectivity. See, this one is replying. Awesome. So we can now see our we can see the servers on our network. Now let's create SSH keys. So let's create a set of keys. We won't use a passphrase at this point. Now let's copy it over to the two servers on our network called app server. Now let's exit and copy the keys to the database server. Awesome. Now let's test that we can connect into them with just typing in the name of the server. We logged in. Let's try the next one. Excellent. Now a quick summary of what we did. We installed Ansible. We then changed the hosts file, which ensures that the main machine called main server can see the other machines on the network just by the name. And we then created SSH keys, so we're able to log into all the machines on our network that we plan to configure. Now let's have a look into the directory where Ansible keeps the files. So once we log in, we can see we got two files. One is called hosts and one is called ansible.cfg, which probably stands for configure. Now let's look at those two files. So we're going to type in sudo nano ansible.cfg, and we can see it doesn't really show us much, but it tells us to generate an example of config file. we can type in the following command. So we'll do that probably in the next tutorial, but for now we'll just ignore this file. And the next file we're going to look into is called hosts. Now, this is a default Ansible host file. It's saying where it should be located. But now what you can do at the bottom of this file, we can add in the name of our servers. So let's type them in. We know one is called the database server and the other one is called app server. And let's save this. Now let's run our first Ansible command. So we're going to just use a simple command. We're going to type in Ansible, name of the database server, and then we're going to type in -m, and we're going to type in ping. And let's see what happens. So we get a message, and it says database success, which means we successfully connected. And this machine we connected to has Python installed. There's been no change to it, and we sent a ping, and the machine replied with a pong. Now, let's do the same with the app server. And you can see the message is exactly the same. So let's study the command in a little bit more detail. Ansible tells Ansible to perform a command. This is just the name of the server we're using. -m tells the module. So at the moment we're using a ping module. So Ansible has a lot of modules, and I'll show you that later on. So let's look at another command. Ansible, instead of pinging each server by name, let's just type in all. And as you can see, that's automatically going to show us all the servers. Now let's run another Ansible command. We're going to type in Ansible, and then we're going to say all to basically perform this command on all of our servers. And then we're going to type in -m, which tells us the module we're going to use, but this time we're going to use the shell module. And we're going to use -a, and let's type in the following, df-h. So what df-h command does, it shows us the remaining disk space or the disk space usage in a human readable format. And now this is what we get. We can see the 45% of the file system on app server has been used. We can see the same is the case with the database server. So we were able to execute a direct command to both servers at once. So this doesn't really tell us too much, but what you can already tell, imagine you had a list of 50 or 100 servers. You'll be able to find out exactly how much disk space usage is left on each one of them, simply by typing one command. Now let's use a different module. In this case, we're going to use -m. We're going to use command module, and we'll see how it differs to the shell module. As you can see, we have actually received the same output. So let's say we wanted to print working directory first of all, so we know where Ansible logs in, and you can see it's located in the home directories of both servers. So let's try to output command output of the first command into a text file. And what are you going to see? That it's unable to do that because the command module doesn't allow you to output. So let's see what happens if we change the shell command. So apologies, shell module. Oh, so now let's list the content of directory, home directory, and you can see we created a marco.txt file on both servers. Now let's delete that file, and we're just going to simply issue rm. Now let's slightly update our host file. So what we want to do, we want to group our servers by the function they perform. So let's edit the host file. Apologies, we're going to do sudo. Now, instead of typing in database and just the app server, we're going to do the following: db servers going to do web servers. Now, in real life scenarios, you might have multiple database servers running the same software, and the same goes for the web servers. So that's the reason why we're grouping them. So imagine having 5 different database servers and web servers. Now in our Ansible folder, we can see another directory called roles. So what we need to do, we need to set up the correct directory structure, and then we're going to write some playbooks. Let's run the following command using the sudo privilege. And we're just going to call a folder called basic. And what Ansible is going to do is going to create the right directory structure for us. So let's have a look. Into roles. We have a folder called basic. Let's go into it. Type in 3. And we can see what it's done. It's created the defaults, files, handlers, meta, tasks, templates, tests, and vars. Now let's try to get a better understanding of these folders and files. So what does the defaults directory do? It stores default variables. For example, that you're going to be running a web server, let's say on port 80. So the files, it's just static files that are going to be stored here that we can push out to the remote machines. For example, a configuration file for Apache and so on. Handlers, with basically tasks which are based on some actions, triggers. Example, in case we change configuration service to be restarted. So what we can do is give an instruction to, let's say Apache, to restart itself if we've changed the config file. Now the meta tells us about the role, who is the author, on which platform is supported for this file, and so on. Tasks is core logical code, so here we're gonna direct Ansible to install packages, copy files, and so on. Templates, dynamic files, we can change per node, similar to files except dynamic, support dynamic files. And vars, both vars and default store variables, but vars stores variables under higher priority. It's difficult to override. Now let's write our first playbook, and let's cd into the tasks. Now let's edit the main.yml file. And in here, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a list of basic software we want installed in all of our machines. Let's start off by describing what we're going to do. So we're gonna type in name, and we're gonna type in basic software. The next line, we want to specify where we want this software to be installed. So for example, we want it to be installed on all of our machines. In the next step, we're going to specify that this needs to be done by using a root account or a sudo account. So we're going to type in become yes. Now let's give it some tasks to perform. So we're going to type in tasks. And then on the next line, we're going to type in the name of the task. So in this case, we're going to install Nano. And what we want to do, we want to specify which module of Ansible we want to use. We want to use apt module, which is apt-get module for Ansible. So we're going to use that, and then let's type in the name. We want to install Nano, and we want to make sure that it's present on our system. So we type in state present. Present just means installed. Now let's save the file. And we're going to run a syntax check to make sure we wrote it correctly. So Ansible has a built-in syntax checker for .yml files known as YAML. So we're going to type in Ansible playbook, name of the playbook, and we're going to type in syntax check. As you can see, if you get no output or any red writing, you know we wrote it correctly. Now let's run our playbook and see what happens. We're going to type in Ansible playbook -k, so we want to escalate the sudo privileges, and we're going to run the file. And you can see it's performing an action, it's gathering facts about our servers, and it's made a change. So that means Nano is now installed on both of our servers. Let's verify that's the case by SSH into the app server. And we're just going to type in which nano. And you can see it produces an output that tells us nano is installed. But let's do the same with the database server. Awesome. Now let's edit our nano main.yml file. And this time we're gonna simply change the line that says present to absent. So let's do that. What this is going to do, it's going to make sure that it's not installed. So we're going to do again ansible playbook.yml. And what it's going to do, it's going to hopefully uninstall nano. Awesome. So let's check that's the case. Which nano? It doesn't exist. Let's do the same for the app server. And you can see Ansible has removed nano from both servers. So we're going to end the tutorial right there. And in the next tutorial, we're going to install a lot more software.